Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonderful whatever time you happen to be watching this. I've been playing a lot more FTL. A lot more of it. I almost beat it last night, but I didn't know what to do at the final boss, so I lost. Kind of sad. I had a really good ship. But now isn't about FTL. Now is about the topic. The topic is why I dig first-person, third-person shooters. Wow. One-track mind today, maybe. I like third-person shooters for a myriad of reasons. But first, I'd like to delve into two, sort of main types of third-person shooters. You have the cover-based first-person shooters, and you've got the over-the-shoulder, horror third-person shooters. Now, in the first category, you have Gears of War, Inversion, Mass Effect 3, to be technical. And in the latter category, you have Resident Evil and Dead Space. And whatever else can you float in those two categories. But one of the things I really just don't get is why people have gotten so vibrantly against a majority of third-person shooters, especially cover-based ones. Is it that they just don't have something that they desire in those games that a player wants? I don't know. I really wish someone could explain to me why they don't like cover-based third-person shooters like Gears of War. Personally, I love them. But that comes from something very mental and something very emotional. Which is kind of weird because you're sitting there going, we're talking about shooters, right? So when do those get mental and emotional? Mass Effect 3. But when I say mental, I'm thinking about the strategic mental. And I'm going to go back about 18 years, or a game that was released today, depending on when you're watching this, XCOM. When you think about how that combat works, it's based around cover. And even with Enemy Unknown, you go into basically a third-person shooting style of camera angles, where you see from behind the shoulder the person taking the shot. Now when I say strategic, XCOM is known for being ridiculously difficult and ridiculously punishing, but when executed correctly, it is a fine, I hesitate to use the phrase ballet, but it's a very well put together, exemplary way to show combat. Now, you might be wondering, how am I equating this to third-person shooters? And when I say strategy, you might not think about, Gears of War, but for a person who's played a lot of it, you know that, especially if you play a lot of Gears of War, that there are just some things that you learn organically from playing. Now, of course, there's that in every game. But in a third-person shooter, you learn, don't go down this hallway if you see that they've taken the sniper rifle, or be sure to check if they have planted grenades. And that's where I get the strategy from. And using XCOM as another example, every single soldier in your third-person shooter squad, because normally a third-person shooter is really based around cooperative play. Thank you, Gears of War and Mass Effect 3. You find that you're coordinating with each other. Similar to how in XCOM, you're coordinating these soldiers. Which you might not see on a level that I do, but that comes from the emotional side. Now, when I first heard about Gears of War, it was about 2005. I was in freaking middle school. And, I had played Halo, and I liked Halo. I liked Halo a lot. It was a really good first-person shooter for the time on console. Now, there's console FPS everywhere. And, but it didn't feel personal. Everyone has that game. That's that is my game. It's the game I grew up with. It's the game I love. It's the game I was passionate about. And for me, that very quickly came in the form of Gears of War. When I first heard about it, I heard it was being developed in the city I lived. I heard it was created by the guys who made Unreal Tournament, which was one of my favorite, which is probably my favorite FPS of all time. So it was very easy for me to go, oh wow, I can get attached to this. I can like this game a lot. And I did. I loved it. I loved how visceral the combat felt when I finally got a chance to play, and I liked how heads popped when you had a headshot. And that's where the emotional side comes from. You all have that game that's just like, yeah, that's my game. And for me, that's Gears of War. That's always been the game that I've had this sort of feverish passion about. Now, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's like I said, it's that everyone else liked Halo, and I liked Halo, but I wanted to have my game. My game ended up being Gears of War 3. So maybe that's why I like cover-based shooters. I mean, Mass Effect certainly hasn't hurt. Good lord, you want to talk about storytelling and gameplay being given their own shapes, their own sort of sounds. Oh man, you want to talk about strategy. If you've never played Galaxy at War, that's a very interesting game mode to completely change how a game has been played since it was released in 2007, and yet make it still feel like you're playing that game, which is hard to do. Bioshock's really doing well. And that's sort of where I stand on third-person shooters. They are a very personal, strategically inclined echelon of game that I have loved to play ever since I was a young kid. You might not like them. You might hate them. If you never see another chest-high wall again, you would probably sing to the heavens and kiss, I don't know, the feet of a 30-foot chicken. And that's not me to try to influence you. You have your own preference in game, as do I. But I'm sorry. You don't like what I like, I don't like what you like. But that's how games work, dude. We all have our own opinions. Hopefully you can at least see where I'm coming from with mine. Thank you very much for checking out today's video, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting cold around where I am. I like the cold. It's good. It's very good. I like it. Nonetheless, thank you very much for checking out today's video, and I shall see you later.